From sprawling woodlands harboring fascinating histories, ghost towns, and chilling paranormal activity, to popular national landmarks where it's said the trees themselves come to life after dark. Are you ready for our second list of picks for some of the most haunted forests in the United States? Number 5. Glastenbury Wilderness. Glastenbury Wilderness, located in Green Mountains National Forest in Vermont, is a 22,400-acre expanse, boasting the title of being the second largest wilderness area in the state that's recognized for its containment of 4 named peaks, the tallest of which is Glastenbury Mountain on its northern end. Historically, this region of land was inhabited by various native tribes, some of which included the Sokoke and Mohicans for over 12,000 years. However, upon European arrival, most were forced to seek lives elsewhere. As the area was settled, it was clear-cut. In 1932, Green Mountains National Forest was established in the wake of overlogging, fires, and flooding, and in 2006, Glastenbury Wilderness was formed through the New England Wilderness Act. Today, Glastenbury offers a range of options for backcountry recreation alongside miles of treks, including a segment of the Long Trail, a 272-mile path running the length of Vermont that crosses right over the summit of Glastenbury Mountain itself, and that coincides with the much larger Appalachian Trail. Glastenbury Wilderness is held within an infamous region identified as the Bennington Triangle, which is recognized for its frequent inexplicable anomalies and countless disappearances. And throughout the area, UFO sightings, Bigfoot encounters, and run-ins with much stranger things are all but common. Possibly the most popular story surrounding these old woods tells that long ago, a number of sites within were utilized as native burial grounds, and that the land surrounding them is cursed. And over the years, 30 to 40 unexplained disappearances have been documented on Glastenbury Mountain alone. Also reported along Glastenbury's many trails are shadowy figures that roam amongst the foliage, apparitions in traditional garb or clothing spanning the ages, and strange areas seemingly void of life where not so much as an animal call can be heard, that are often referred to as dead zones. Number 4. Kisatchie National Forest. Kisatchie National Forest, spread across 7 central and northern parishes of Louisiana, is a 604,000-acre expanse recognized as the largest division of natural landscaping in the state, as well as its only national forest. Historically, through the late 19th and early 20th centuries, these very woodlands were utilized for the logging of their yellow pine. But by the Great Depression, a number of early sawmills had closed their doors as available resources dwindled. In 1928, one Charles A. Plymouth was assigned as head of the Kisatchie Purchase Unit and would set to work managing purchased lands, many of which were previously acquired, for the purpose of expansion projects. And in 1930, the forest was officially designated under the administration of U.S. President Herbert Hoover. Kisatchie remains open to this day and offers a range of recreational zones, bird-watching opportunities, and options for canoeing, boating, camping, angling, and more. The forest boasts more than 40 undeveloped rec sites, over 100 miles in total trails, and, according to legend, the restless spirits of the many who lived and died within its bounds. Throughout Kisatchie, one can find the remains of old ghost towns, ruined mills, and even grave sites. And those who have braved excursions have described encounters with shadowy forms, as well as with the full-bodied apparitions of both native peoples and early colonists. Campers who have stayed the night in the region have later told that after dark, the forest seemingly comes to life and twists, with temperatures dropping or rising inexplicably, trees moving, disembodied footsteps outside of tents, and an unnatural silence that's more deafening than the loudest of commotions. And several have described the sounds of chanting, singing, drums, and whispers, always seemingly heard from just beyond the glow of their campfires. Also reported at Kisatchie is the inexplicable feeling of fear or dread, alongside encounters with what some claim are either skinwalkers or wendigo. Number 3. Pachaug State Forest. Pachaug State Forest, located out of New London County and spanning between Volunton, Griswold, Plainfield, Sterling, North Stonington, and Preston in Connecticut, is a massive woodland expanse reaching over 27,000 acres that boasts the title of being the largest forest in the entirety of the state. Historically, this land played home to a number of tribes native to the region. However, when European settlers first arrived through the 17th century, they would discover it under the control of the Narragansett, Pequot, and Mohegan tribes. Pachaug State Forest was officially established in 1928. Over the following years, the state would purchase additional land for the purpose of its expansion. In 1933, its first civilian conservation site, Camp Lonergan, was established, and in 1937, under the Resettlement Administration, 9,000 additional acres were added to the tract. In 1973, impressively, a portion of Pachaug was declared a National Natural Landmark for its unique Atlantic white cedar swamp. Today, the forest offers a range of hiking trails, campsites, angling options, abundant picnic space, and, as legend has it, a wide assortment of paranormal activity, with those exploring about reporting the constant feeling of being followed, evidence of satanic rituals and animal sacrifice, areas completely void of life where not even trees or foliage grow, and encounters with the full-bodied entity of a young native woman who it's rumored was murdered by an English soldier, and whose screams are often heard in the distance. One stretch, Hell Hollow Road, is surrounded by two popular legends. The first that tells of Mrs. Gorton, who it's said loved her lilac bushes and who's rumored to have drowned a young boy who stole one. It's said her spirit remains throughout the forest, always hunting for her next victim. The second story, which varies greatly, tells of Maud's grave, a large pile of rocks 10 feet from the road on the right side if you're coming from the Sterling direction. Some claim Maud was a witch who was hanged or burned, while others the victim of a murder. Whatever the case, it's said that if one calls her name while driving past her marker, that their vehicle will either stall or crash, leaving them stranded and in the clutches of Maud. Number 2. Myles Standish State Forest. Myles Standish State Forest, spread between the towns of Plymouth and Carver in southeastern Massachusetts, is a woodland expanse reaching around 12,400 acres that boasts the title of being the largest publicly owned recreation area in its region. Historically, this site once played home to a Wampanoag village and its tribe, the Patuxet, but sadly, in 1614 and again in 1617, a series of plagues devastated the native populace, after which pilgrims jumped on the opportunity to settle. With colonization starting circa 1620, a consistent demand for lumber resulted by the mid-1800s in the clearing of most of the forest's original growth. In 1912, the Massachusetts Game Sanctuary Association would launch efforts in reforestation. In 1916, the State Forest Commission would purchase the whole of the property, and through the 1920s, they would continue to acquire a bulk of the land, now acting as Myles Standish. Reforestation of the woodland continues into the present, with additional plantings taking place following wildfires or any other major loss of natural life. Myles Standish State Forest remains open to the public to this day, offering an assortment of options in hiking, swimming, camping, hunting, angling, and, as local tale tells, a range of resident hauntings, with those exploring about reporting orbs visible to the naked eye, strange fogs that float with sentience, the constant feeling of being watched or closely followed, and encounters with shadowy figures and apparitions in clothing or traditional garb spanning the ages. Some tell of an old abandoned mental hospital hidden somewhere deep within the forest, where activity gets downright scary, and where the apparitions of former staff and patients roam freely. Others that the woods are haunted by the ghosts of victims of a string of local murders that transpired through the 1970s, the most prolific of which was the slaying of a woman who disappeared while riding her bike in '77, a crime which remained unsolved until 2003. Lastly, in history, Myles Standish, after whom the forest takes its name, was an English officer who accompanied pilgrims aboard the Mayflower that was recognized as a fierce combatant against hostile native forces, and some claim his presence still wonders about ensuring the protection of those who enter the old thicket. Number 1. Mount Hood National Forest. Mount Hood National Forest, stretching south from the Columbia River Gorge, across more than 60 miles of densely forested mountains, lakes, valleys, streams, and unrefined wilderness, to the Olali Scenic Area bordering the Warm Springs Reservation, is a jaw-dropping 1,067,043-acre woodland expanse that, at over 4 million annual visitors, boasts the impressive title of being one of the most popular national forests in the entirety of the United States. Historically, this area was made traversable in 1846 by Sam Barlow and Philip Foster, who constructed a final segment of the Oregon Trail, Barlow Road, which would allow for wagon trains to cross the Cascade Range. In 1892, the forest was established as the Bull Run Forest Reserve, and the following year, in 1893, it was heavily expanded upon. In 1908, Bull Run was merged with parts of Cascade National Forest to form the larger Oregon National Forest, which in 1924 would be renamed one final time to Mount Hood National Forest. In 1940, a push was started for the forest to be declared a national park instead, and though this ideal never materialized, campaigning for this very same purpose continues into the present, as some argue national park status would better protect the region from logging. In 2010, prestigiously, Mount Hood National Forest was honored with its own quarter under the America the Beautiful Quarters program. Today, this expanse offers nearly infinite recreational options, its most popular of which are by far its luxurious snow sport parks and runs, alongside 8 separate wilderness zones, numerous lakes, trails, and, according to local legend, extreme supernatural activity, with those living in, near, traveling through, working at, or even utilizing Mount Hood's various facilities, reporting orbs that flit amongst the trees after dark, spectral logging lanterns sighted bobbing along old trails, half-formed silhouettes in the backgrounds of photographs, and frequent Sasquatch and cryptid encounters. At Little Crater Lake, the apparitions of 3 teenagers have been sighted splashing about in the water, even though swimming is strictly forbidden, and have been known to reach for help or even to call to present living before vanishing suddenly. And campers at the Little Crater Lake campground have described the chilling sounds of disembodied crying heard throughout the night, as well as encounters with a ghostly white cat that vanishes when approached. The Forest's old Barlow Road segment of the Oregon Trail is rumored to have been the most harrowing 100 miles of the nearly 2,000-mile journey. And at a place called Lauren Hill, right near the modern town of Rhododendron, countless lives, cattle, and wagons were lost down its steep slope. In Rhododendron, which formerly held camps for pioneers on the trails, residents have reported doors that open and close on their own, inhuman sounds from the forests at night, inexplicable electrical issues, and orbs in strange forms sighted within homes that have scared some so badly it's warranted calls to the authorities. Lastly, sitting 6,000 feet up Mount Hood itself is the infamous Timberline Lodge, a resort-style ski stop that was initially constructed between 1936 and 38, and its exterior was made very famous as the Overlook Hotel. In Stanley Kubrick's 1980 film rendition of Stephen King's 1977 novel, The Shining, though current lodge PR has attempted to squash rumors of paranormal activity publicly, local Oregonian legend has persisted, with many chalking these actions up as managerial choices purposed to not scare off potential clients. And those not affiliated swear the entirety of the property is, in fact, very haunted by the countless souls of the many skiers, snowboarders, climbers, and hikers who have lost their lives near. And those staying overnight on the mountain have described doors that slam on their own, disembodied footsteps, the feeling of someone unseen standing within their locked rooms at night, and sightings through the structure's impressively massive windows of countless ghostly white entities that drift across the slopes after dark. Taking its fascinating history into consideration and coupling it with a formidable slew of purported paranormal infestations, ghost stories, and urban legends, we felt Mount Hood National Forest was the perfect choice as the most haunted forest in the United States. Thanks for tuning in for our second list of picks for some of the most haunted forests in the US. If you enjoyed hearing our histories and ghost stories, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn notifications on. Throw us a like, and most importantly, share us with anyone you feel deserves a good scare. We'll catch you all next time.